Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be my review on the new Viseart Grande Pro Volume 1 palette. Right off the get-go, I do want to make clear that this palette is $175, or if you have a pro discount with Muse, it is $140. This is a pro product. Some people I know get very, very angry when price starts getting up there. This palette is not a ripoff though, based on quality and how much shadow you're getting. But if you're not interested in this video is not for you, and I will see you next one. I have gotten so many requests to review this. I do have a video with the owner of Viseart and Muse, who both helped create this palette. I will link it below if you want some background on information on there. I am a Muse affiliate who is selling this palette, and I have developed a friendship with Alphonse and Anastasia just because I've loved their products for so long. I was lucky that I was in a position to get to meet them because they are both local. I will have some critiques of the palette. I just want to put that out there just so you're fully aware. If I was trying to be biased and hide that, I wouldn't bring it up. So if you guys do buy from my link below for this palette, I do earn commission. Let's get into the review. I did a quick demo of, I already had this eye done, how I did this one, and I'll insert that in here. And as always, guys, all the usual for timestamps below. I will have cost breakdowns, swatches, a demo of the look, all that good stuff if you care to skip around in the video. If you guys have been watching me for any length of time, you know that Viseart makes my favorite all-time matte eyeshadows. I just love them. These are my all-time favorite matte eyeshadows. These three palettes. This is the neutral matte, this is the dark matte, and then this is their warm mattes. This one is a new one because I did swatch all of the Viseart eyeshadow palettes, and my palette ended up getting mixed up with their palettes, and they took them, so they just gave me a new one because they weren't sure which one was the lab sample and which one I was digging around in, and so they just gave me that one. I do wear that palette though a ton. Again, I'm going to link the video that I did with Alphonse and Anastasia below so you guys can get like their full rundown of what this is, but I'll kind of condense it a little bit into my own words. So for this palette, they went into their vault of colors, basically any colors that they loved that didn't make it into these 12-pan palettes, which are their pro palettes. They kind of have like this giant vault of colors that they really love, and they chose 30 of them to put in this book. 24 of these shades are brand new, and 6 of these are existing shades from other palettes that are popular. The idea behind this palette is each row is the same undertones. So at first when I was looking at this, I thought, it's kind of a lot of light shades right here. And I mean, it is a decent amount of light shades. But again, basically what this gives you is a brow bone highlight and all over lid color, or like up to the brow bone. You're going to have a crease definer. You're going to have, or something that you can put all over your lid. You're going to have a crease definer. These are the amplifiers or intensifiers that you can mix with any other shade to kick it up a notch, and these are all the shades that you're going to deepen with. So in the aspect of if you are on a budget, this is not going to be the palette for you. If you're a collector, I think this is an excellent addition. If you love Viseart, I think this is an excellent addition, and if you are a pro makeup artist, I think that this is an excellent addition. The pans are the same size 2-gram pans that you will find in their pro palettes. All of these are magnetized and can be popped out. You can mix them in any of their theory palettes, those little 6-pan palettes that you want, or you can put them all in your own magnetized palette yourself. This is a little easel, so you can pop this around. There's this little plastic thing right here. You can pop it like this and put it right on your vanity or your desk to work from, or you can hold it. The packaging is very thin, and the way Alphonse explained that is when you're on a job working, you just want something easy to carry around. You don't want some big bulky packaging. I did see a couple questions asking why this palette was all matte. I think that they're mostly known for their mattes, but also in that video they explained in their pro palettes they never mix shimmers and mattes together, and that's because if someone is working on an actor or actress and they're on camera and they have a bit of like maybe one of these little micas went into the mattes and you can see like where the light's reflecting, it's very distracting. So in their pro palettes, the 12 and more, they do not mix. Something like the Theory palettes, you'll find 3 shimmers and 3 mattes. I personally wear mattes the most, so I always prefer the majority to be matte, so this is right up my alley. Currently, this is only available at Muse Beauty Pro. The reason they didn't launch this with Sephora is because this is a very specialized palette. Again, this is meant to go into the pro market because the same thing. I think most consumers may look at this and think it's too many mattes or too many lights, but if you're working on multiple skin tones, this comes in very handy. And even for myself, I've used all of these, and like things like this, brow bone highlights, and a lot of palettes where they have tons of shades, you'll always notice a lot of times that the highlight colors are larger than the rest because those are typically the colors you use the most. So I don't mind having more, especially when they match the undertones of the rose going across. All of their products are handmade, so to keep up with production for something like this on a Sephora level scale would be probably a little scary. So again, this just launched with Muse Beauty, who is their pro partner. The launch date for this is now shipping. It started shipping on November 6th. They did do a pre-order leading up to the release of this for about a month. They have shipped all pre-orders, and if you order this now, it will ship like any regular order. This palette is limited edition, and again, in that video, I asked them, you know, it's not like them to make limited edition palettes, and I asked them why, because a lot of us, you know, we foam at the mouth. We hate that limited edition feeling because it feels like they're trying to like pressure us to hurry, buy, and then it ends up coming back and being permanent. And basically when I talk to them about this, it's because they are a small company, you know, they don't have a ton of workers. It's not easy for them to tie up as much money as this costs to produce, and then maybe slack on what their bread and butter is, like these 12-pan palettes and other things that are staples that a lot of professional makeup artists keep in their kits. So this was something that they wanted to do for fun and use some of these colors that they have in their vault that they really love, and so they did create this. There are a limited 3,000 pieces that are made of this, and they did say 3,000 for Muse anyway, and then they had 3,000 pieces that they made for their international distributor that aren't numbered. I got this. This was actually fresh out of the lab, so mine doesn't have the signature that the other ones will have on the palette and the numbers. If the palette did do well, they did say that they're open to bringing it back. Again, it's going to be always in very limited quantities. It's nothing that they can keep up with because, again, if you think about how many, you know, palettes it is in this, it's just not possible. So if you're not a fan of limited edition items, again, this probably won't be something for you, and I'm really not either. But when it comes to like Dose of Colors, Viseart, there are certain things that I just need them because I love the brands. They also know that it's a very niche market, that people that are comfortable spending that amount of money. The cost for this product is $175, and if you are a pro and you have a pro discount with Muse, you can apply. You just have to send your credentials. The palette would cost you $140. This is the packaging it comes in, this little easel, and I really like this. I guess they said they were going for a book. It reminds me of like a really nice portfolio or kind of like a briefcase or a bag. It's this like textured case on the top here. It's just really sleek looking and nice. All of Viseart's products are made in France. Every time I say that, I want to say the Coneheads, we come from France. I can't help it. So again, the amount of product that you're getting in each one of these is 2 grams, which is the exact same size as their Pro palette. So with the 30 shades you're getting in here, you are getting 60 grams of product, which is a ton of product. As I already touched on, this entire palette is matte, so you're getting 30 matte shades in here, 24 brand new and 6 existing. I'll show on the screen right here which 6 are existing and from what palettes they came from. Viseart has some of the longest shelf life on their products because they don't put in silicones and oils and other things like that into their shadows. These last for 36 months. I don't have an order date on this because I did receive this in PR. I was there when they first unveiled the product, and then they sent me one to test as soon as some of them started coming over from France. This product is cruelty-free because they do not test on animals, but it is not vegan because some of the shades do contain carmine. Let's get into the cost breakdown right here on the screen, guys. When you look at the cost per gram on this, it is very reasonable. Cost per gram, really, I mean, that's the best way I have to measure the value of a palette, but it also is going to come down to whether you're ever going to use all the shades, because if you never hit pan, I guess it kind of doesn't matter. But again, we have to measure it somehow, and that's what I'm looking at. Anything that's like right above or below the line is going to cost about the same. So if you were to get the same amount of product, it would cost you the same amount. So that'll help you gauge kind of like the quality level as well of what they're up against. Anything below the Grande Pro palette is more. So any of those shadows that you see, like the IT Cosmetics or any of those palettes, it would cost you more to get the same amount of product, which is just kind of a little food for thought, especially if you've tried Viseart shadows, because their quality is unparalleled to me with their mattes. And then I broke it down by the different offerings that Viseart has, like their 12-pan Pro palettes, their Theory palettes, the Petite Pro, and then their new Golden Hour palette. Just like with anything, you do get the most bang for your buck when you buy in bulk, which that's going to be the Grande Pro palette. But of all of their products, you are getting the best cost per gram. It comes in at $2.92. Based on their 12-pan palettes, if you broke out how many shadows it is, this palette would be valued right over $200. So you are getting a little bit of a discount, $25 basically, buying them like this. Went through all the ingredients. Nothing in here causes me any cause for concern for putting it on my eye. Something to note about Viseart as well is Anastasia is super sensitive skin. Like, she cannot put really like any kind of harsh chemicals or a lot of synthetic products kind of bother her skin as well. So these shadows do not have any dimethicones in there, no silicones, no parabens, no petrol, no like any harmful chemicals. Also notice though that when you go to swatch one of these shadows compared to maybe like a Natasha Denona, and I do like her new creamy matte, you're gonna feel a difference. These don't feel as heavy as those. And these might, when you swatch them and you put them on your hand, you know, you can see these colors. I mean, again, that was a light little swatch. They are super pigmented, but they tend to feel, for me, a little more dry on my hands than some of these other really kind of wet feeling shadows when you swatch them. These perform beautifully with a brush on the eye. I do find they swatch really well too, but they do their magic on your eye with a brush. These shadows don't need a primer to work. I always use a primer because I always do, and I just think it's not fair if I start changing up some of my constants going forward, and then I'll have to hear. So I always use the same brushes, and I use the same prep always. This is in keeping with their 12-pan palettes, the formula-wise, but these do have a bit more pigment in them. And this second to last row of these intensifiers, these last couple shades do feel slightly gritty compared to the rest. And again, anytime you've used extremely pigmented shadows, they tend to feel a little gritty, and that's because of the pigments. So in these last two in particular, you feel a little bit of a grit, but they, with your finger anyway, when you're rubbing back and forth, but they go on the eyes beautifully. Besides their own Viseart shadows, I cannot find any dupes to the formula. These shadows do apply in typical standard Viseart fashion very beautifully. I was curious because I felt some of these were similar, and I would say these two are kind of similar, but when you put them on the eye and you can build them up, you'll start to notice the difference in intensity in them, this one being a lot darker. I get the same standard Viseart wear with these. They last all day on me. Because they don't have any kind of dimethicones or silicones in them, they tend to stay put on me all day without kind of sliding off. If you have oily eyelids, I think that these formulas would be amazing for you as well. Always Ripley was kind enough to swatch for me on her deeper skin tone. Viseart did hire a light skin, medium, and dark skin model, and they came over one day with my swatch set up, and I swatched every single palette that they have, including this palette, but I will say I did use a base on all of the models like I always do, except I didn't do any finger swatches. I just used a brush, but it was a different brush. It was the Esom W23. This is a sable-haired brush, and this is what Alphonse prefers to do swatches with because sable puts a more opaque application down. So I did use this brush. So I will show those swatches as well. They're not live swatches because I just took standard pictures of them just so you can see. If you're curious, just know it's not my standard way of doing it. Ripley did it the same way that we always do it. In the description box below, I will have Ripley's foundation shade listed as well as a link to her Instagram. You guys should go follow her. Okay guys, let's get into some swatches now. I will be swatching in my typical fashion. I will be laying down a base of Urban Decay's Primer Potion. We'll be swatching the mattes with my MAC 239 brush. In between swatches, I will be cleaning my brush in my color switch so my brush will not be damp. As always, the first swatch will be a finger swatch and the one right next to it will be a brush swatch just so you can see the difference in performance. And now guys, let's get into the quick little demo I did on this eye because I already had this one done. Just so you can see how like light pressure and just easy it is just to pair a couple of these colors and kind of head out the door. Okay, so I have my whole base done. I airbrushed my foundation on today with the Cat Hydro. I have Cat Hydro blush on my eyebrows, everything except for my lips and highlight. So I'm going to pretty much be working with these two rows today, mostly this top one. And first I'm going to take this color and put it all over my lid and up to my brow bone as a base. I do have Urban Decay Primer Potion on like I always do, but the professional makeup artist I watched during that Instagram live said you don't even have to use that you can just go right in with these. Next I'm going to take this Esam S33 brush and I'm going to pick up a little bit of this color right here, this third one, and I'm going to kind of go a little above my crease. Just lay down that color lightly. Really like this little brush. I never really would use something this pointed and tapered. Again, I watched Alphonse use it, so I've been like sneaking and stealing little tips from all of them since they are such good professional makeup artists. Now I'm going to go into this orange. Now you can use this row of intensifiers right here to mix in with any of these shades, and if you want an even more like orange color, you can dip in. I mean, this whole row is going to have the same undertones, ditto, same undertones all the way through. So you typically have like a highlight shade, maybe an all over color, lid colors, crease colors, intensifiers, colors that you can deepen like the outside V with. So I'm just going to pick up a little of this. You just touch it in, and I'm going to go right above my crease. Just nice and lightly. You don't have to tug on your eyes a ton with these shadows. They're super pigmented. And just a little touch like that. I'm going to take a clean Wayne Goss number 6 brush, and I'm just going to go over that line, just blend it out a little more. Now I'm going to pick up the Esam S31 brush. These two Esam brushes for the eyes have been like some of my favorite. And I'm going to pick up this color right here. I do find some of these colors, they go on. They seem lighter in the pan until once you get them on your eye and you're like, okay, it's not as light as I was expecting. And I'm just going to go right above my crease with this little pencil brush. Get that color on. You guys know how I like to place my shadows, and then I use a fluffier brush to blend. It's just easier for me because my eyes are smaller. I'm going to dip back into that same color, and I'm going to bring it pretty much from like where my pupil is to the outside corner of my eye. I really like this brown. It's really pretty. I'm going to take the S33 brush, and I'm just going to kind of go back and forth over the lid to blend that. Now you can build these up if you want them even more intense. I'm just dipping lightly into the colors and diffusing them lightly. This is kind of like my favorite fall eye with oranges like this. This is something I can even wear for work, but I can also really intensify it if I want and do like a bright orange smoky eye with some of these colors, incorporate some of the black. Pick up a little bit of this last color in that row on that same S31 brush and just kind of go like right above there and down into that V, or what is that, a less than sign right there. And then again, take the 33 and blend that in. My mouth is hurting me so bad today. The past couple trays I've had have been super painful and I'm almost done. I thought maybe they wouldn't hurt as much at the end. So I'm hanging my mouth open like a codfish, sorry. These just blend so nice. Without a lot of tugging on your eye. Now I'm gonna go in with the Esom W21 and this shade right here, and I'm gonna start packing that on my lid just in the beginning part here. I just kind of want it to be like a smooth transition, and I'm gonna pick up a little of this lighter color and on that inner part of my eye, and then kind of blend all of those colors together. Now see how I can see a little more orange there? I'm gonna pick up a little more of that orange and go right there. See how intense that is? I'm gonna pick up that same clean Wayne Goss number 6 brush, go over this and blend it in. I love this row of intensifiers. Since these are super pigmented on this row right here, these bottom two in particular feel a little more grainy, which is common with more pure pigment colors or palettes. And again, when I say that, they still have other ingredients in there, but they have a crap ton of pigment in that row right there. You can see that was relatively simple. I'll do my top. I'm gonna pick up these new Zoeva brushes they sent me that are really nice. I'm gonna pick up this shade right here because sometimes I find this one is a little too stark when I'm doing some deeper colors. Just work that in the corner because again, sometimes I bring my shadows in too close and it'll like put a shadow in my eye. And I'm gonna pick up that same color with my MAC 252 brush and I'm just gonna highlight my brow bone. Kind of brings everything together. A fluffier brush. This is my Shikihodo GSN7. With the S31 brush right under my eyes, I'm gonna pick up some of this third color. And bring it down under there. Connect it. Pick up the S33. Smoke that out a little. And I'm gonna pick up some of this fourth color. I think I brought that side down a little lower, so let's even those out. Okay, I'm gonna put on some eyelashes, mascara, and my highlight, and then I'll be right back, guys. What I did in this look was pretty like natural and wearable. I did do an Instagram live with Muse. If you guys follow me on Instagram, and even with them, it was on their page. I will insert some of the looks here. They had 3 makeup artists there, one including Alphonse, and they did some like really cool, like one of the artists, Whitney, did this amazing blue and black, like really editorial, really cool eye with this palette. All the artists just did really cool looks with this, which inspired me, and I came home and tried to do it, and I look like I dunked my face in like the toilet bowl when you have one of those 2000 flushes or something. I need to practice that a little more. So in closing, would I purchase this if it hadn't been sent to me? Absolutely, because besides the Golden Hour and One Theory palette, I have purchased all of the Viseart palettes I own because I love them. And then again, I did buy this one originally and it ended up getting taken with them, so they did give me this one, but I still had a lot left in my other one that I did purchase. If you wear a lot of mattes, I think that this would be great for you. If you're a person of color, I could see maybe where you wouldn't get the most use out of this palette. If I do cover up this last row, you can see, or this first row, you can see that maybe this looks a bit more appealing because you can still have those brow bone highlights and things. But again, keep in mind that you can mix these shades to make your own color. I think this is a perfect palette again for those collectors. If you love Viseart, if you wear a lot of mattes, You have to be comfortable with the price tag again. And I think this is excellent for makeup artists that are working on multiple skin tones, because pretty much, I mean, for wearable looks, you know, a lot of us, we get bored with the same old colors, but something like this, and I've mentioned in my previous favorite palettes video, I use this palette the most because I can use this every day, and that's something like this. I mean, you can intensify your nighttime looks or even some fall looks, but I can use this palette every single day, so I'm going to get my most use out of something like this than I would with something that has like neon greens and blues. Although those are fun, I can't wear those every day. Definitely do own some of these shades scattered out through the rest of my collection and in different palettes. So was I dying to have that like particular light pink shade? No, but I do find again that it does pair well with some of the looks I'm doing on some of those intensifiers and just having the brow bone highlight and everything in one place. I'm going to show you again on that up close which ones are duplicate shadows. I don't think it's a case though, like if you have the dark in this, that it's exactly the same. Like while you may have some like dark purples in here, they are different. You do have a similar orange, but there's like none of the dark greens in here. There's none of the like intense berries in here or like some of those certain shades. This too, like you'll get some of these like creamy kind of colors, but and maybe like one of the grays, but nothing exact. And even in the warm palette, maybe like a couple of the tans, but that's really it. Even the orange is different. So I hope you guys found this review helpful. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave them in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys, and I will see you next time.